Happy Monday. It is the end of September. Crazy how this whole month has flown by. Granted, I wasn't home a whole lot, and so that makes it go by even faster, but still, fall has gone by so very fast. So, this past weekend, a bunch of us gathered, actually, this past week, because there's events in several locations. I don't think Lynn is on tonight. I was going to get her to share a little bit on the other location where she had been in for the events. A lot of us ended up in Edmonton, which was a wonderful weekend. And we would love to share a little bit of our takeaways of what we had with Alec and just being in the room and being together, all the things. So if you have something that like kind of falls into your brain that you feel like would be good to share, by all means, let's do that. I'm going to call out Holly first and get a recap of what Alec shared with us because she had been posting about that, which is awesome. Holly, go ahead.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it's like Alec always says, there's some things that he always says, right? It's just like we're a solid company. They're so confident in their vision and where they're going and how like we're not going affiliate, right? They're for the people, people business, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're debt free. It's just all the good things, right? Pay themselves first,
Mm-hmm.
just great values, something that I personally really like to follow. But he says people over profits, right? I believe if you take care of the people, obviously he does too, that everything else is just going to fall in line, right? It's like if you don't focus on, the end game, you're going to get there. You're absolutely going to get there. So, um, make sure like there's companies out there where it's just like they don't want you to hang out with people that aren't their people, right? It's like, oh, you're not going to be a part of my thing. Bye-bye. Yeah, no, we don't do that. We love everybody, Plexus people or not. So it's I can't remember where I was going with that, but that's what. Oh yeah, people over profits. That's a big thing. Um, yeah, make sure. Oh yeah, never mind. Make sure you have friends outside of Plexus. He said if you can't go for dinner for 1 hour and not talk about Plexus, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong, right? Just relax. Life's a journey. Let's just enjoy it. And do not, he was very, very adamant on this. Do not work 40 hours a week, right? Otherwise, it's just another job, right? We're here for the time freedom and just the joy of sharing. So yeah, I think that's pretty well the majority of it. Where did my thing go? Um, yeah, when you put the people first, the business will always follow. I think that was most of what I had.
I never get
Mm.
tired of his story of how he
No,
flexes, right? Like he
absolutely
always
not.
says it's 18 inches that saved him. Like he ramped over the curb, got his car stuck, couldn't get out of it. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm the new guy. Um, his authenticity is always, to me, a model of how we can be as well, right? And how would it feel if we had someone else than Alec telling us these things? Like I've often thought about that. He's so genuine, has always been himself. The reassurance of the support and how they have remained, like just like Holly said, not going affiliate. That is going to stay. The network marketing industry might have changed a little bit over the last couple of years, but I believe coming through in the end, this model will win. Absolutely believe that. Oh, he loves Tim Hortons. All right. And I'm going to ask Barb a little bit about being in the room and why it matters.
Okay, so I know a lot of us on here, we have been sharing about things that are hard right now. And it's like Holly said, we Plexus people are different, even though we are on screens all the time, and here we are again, right? But there's something about getting yourself in the room. And I think because everyone has the hard, and very often circumstances don't allow us to come like to be in the room to travel, um, to go to places like events that Corp does and stuff like that. I do, we all understand that, right? But I think when things get hard, we really need to be extra diligent in getting in the room because face to face will always win. And when we sit side by side or face to face on a couch, a blanket on our legs, things like that, and just share the good, bad, and ugly. Um, and I think, you know, shedding some tears, being happy for each other, share wins, share struggles. Face to face will always win. And when you come to an event like we just did or we just had, um, there's, I don't think there was one person in that room that didn't like hugs. Like just seeing the people hugging each other, supporting each other, and listening to. I mean, Alec didn't have to come. He didn't have to take the time, right? It is good to see that they care that much, and to have people that will always share what has worked for them, the struggles. We had a couples panel this time, which was very refreshing to hear men's sides of the story and of this business. Yeah, so I encourage all of you next time there's an event, um, maybe not sell your bedroom, but maybe just your ottoman, maybe? I don't know.
There's a story behind that. One year when it was Alec, right? He had talked to someone who had really, really wanted to come to convention, but she didn't have money. And then at convention, he saw her and he's like, "What? How'd you get here?" And she's like, "I sold my bedroom set." Crazy. But that's knowing what it would do for her, right? Just like Barb just shared, it fills us up to be together and to have those other people pouring into us, and it fills a parched spot within us that we can go home again and say, I can do this. I can do this. I have the best support, and with together with these people, we're going to go places, right? I love that so much, Barb. Thank you. Yes, she would get that back plus more. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to put this question out there for you guys. Anybody can answer, and we'll tackle it after Sheila is done talking about the panel. But if you were to say, what is your biggest belief builders when you go to an event, when you go to convention, when you watch certain speakers speak, what are your biggest belief builders? Let's answer that after Sheila is done talking about the panel that we had.
Okay, so the panel was really, really good. I loved that they made it so very family oriented. It was it wasn't just the women up there. It was the women and their men, the men that stand behind them in this journey. Because, yeah, I am the face of what I do, but I wouldn't do what I do if it wasn't for Kev behind me. And so it is a family, for us, it is a family business. And they tackled so many different topics from, I loved Dad's opening statement to the fact that he is the highest paid dishwasher. And it just brought reality to what it is that we do, that it's not just about the reach outs. It's not just about those things. It's about working together because there's a lot of different pieces that come together to make this thing a whole puzzle. And each role is actively important, even if some of them are not visible. And so it made it really, there were a lot of men in the room, which I love to see. We usually don't have that many men, so that was fantastic. And I think it was really belief building for those men to be like, okay, so there's a place, and I know Brandon said that a lot. There's a place for me here. There's a place for me that I can be a part of this too, no matter what that may look like. If that is, there are men, I know Wes and Sherry. Wes does an amazing job at this, sharing on social media and also sponsoring and stuff. If that's their place, awesome. Or if it is more like what my dad does, where he talks to people, but he refers them back to my mother. Or if it's like a dad who is super busy with the kids so that mom can step away. Once a week, I leave the house and I go work at a coffee shop so that I can spend time on with no distractions, no distractions. And a mom of small children knows exactly what that's like. There's distractions 24/7. You do not, you almost, I've sent a voice message today to someone. Oh, she's not even on here. And I had to send three different chunks because I got interrupted that many times. And so that is the reality of it. And so there's so many different parts. And I loved that that was highlighted. I also loved that they really focused on um, if you could go back and give yourself advice, or if you could go back and change anything, what would you do? What would you change? And so as they went through, each couple took turns answering this, and the perspectives were really neat to see the difference from the husband to the wife and how they looked at it, and also how the husband looked at the wife. And you could see when dad talked about mom or when Dennis talked about Cindy, you could see the immense amount of pride that they had and how grateful they were. It was beautiful to see, and I think that that encouraged more vision than even just words in itself. Like even just what they said, it was just the fact that they were up there together encouraging each other. There's a lot of women that come into this business where their husbands aren't 100% on board right away. And so for them to see these couples up there together, I think that is a huge encouragement and belief builder. It was really, really good. It was really good.
It's good to hear the perspective because honestly, when you're up there, you like later on in bed, we both said, what did we even say? Because that's how it often is when you're the one that is sharing and you're like, you really want your message to get across, but you're not sure what you actually even said, if it did, you know? So, one piece that I want to add on to Sheila there is emotional support can be your husband. This business is hard. We work with primarily women and health issues and business goals and things like that, right? And to have someone to hold space for you is a really big deal and helps you to sometimes navigate the feelings and then get back to the facts. And another thing that Sheila brought up later, which I really appreciated, telling us what wasn't being talked about, is also women do this business even when their men are not fully supportive. And it's a growth process. And so there is no set time from A to Z. Men are often very black and white, and they'll be like, so why aren't you diamond yet? And we women get frustrated by that or upset or like, you don't know what I do, right? Like, and this is a journey of where that growth happens. And sometimes those men do not understand that aspect. But then if you ask a man to go build this business, then they also feel like that might be a little bit hard, might not be as easy as what they thought it may have been. Ask a man to go sponsor 10 people and get three of them to silver and then retain them. And I wonder what they would do, right? Like, what would they do? Some would be really good at it, some might hesitate a little bit more. So there's pieces of where we can take this business and share it, and different perspectives of where people are, to give ground and to give what's the other word, support in general of where you are when you are building this business, if that makes sense. Okay, so biggest, if you look at your belief builders, what are your biggest aspects of where you feel like you build belief? I'm feeling like I'm not asking the question right, but does that make sense to you guys? Like, if you go to an event, do you feel like that is where you're building belief? Do you feel like you're building belief being together with other people that have made it further in this business and are pouring into you? Do you feel like you're building belief when you're hanging out with your sidelines? Like, what would it be for you that really stands out for you? Like Barb mentioned, like sitting together on the couch and sharing stories, sharing examples, helping each other come up with solutions, things like that, right? Anybody have something that stands out?
I think one of my favorite memories is the one when we were in Cochrane. I think it was a Ruby retreat.
Mhm.
Um, and we were all sitting around in that room, and each one of the leaders shared their hard, like, and it was very, very vulnerable, and it was very deep. And that was the biggest belief impact that I think that kind of like that heart to heart where you're like I love like there's so many other things like I love reading books. I love being in the room. I love all those things. I love if I need like a pump me up right in that moment where I feel like my belief is a little low that day. Maybe I'm like Amber says, I'm not at a three. I'm like I've dropped down to a three. I'll watch a Diamond documentary or something like that. And that'll pop me back up. But to really, really build like big time belief would be something like that, to be in that intimate circle of women where we are sharing heart to heart.
That's really good. Anybody else want to share something on that?
I would have to agree with Sheila on that one. That's really builds my belief because it's more sometimes we curate on Facebook, posts and stuff like that, and we don't really and there's a fine line between sharing it all and holding any everything back. So I think even though being vulnerable online is very important because I think people can relate to that more. But being vulnerable face to face is just I don't know. It's a next level, and it really brings out the heartstrings and whatever. So yeah.
So good.
I think for me, I can't, it wasn't like a moment of now I believe. It was like over time coming to a meeting and hearing a story and a testimony, and then watching a Diamond documentary, and then seeing how the products worked for me, and then going to a Super Saturday, and then going to a growth summit, and then hearing Alec talk at convention. And then like it's kind of the addition of because I came in very, very skeptical, remember? And so it's like, you're like, does this work? Doesn't this work? And then your brain collects evidence. And so it's like over time, I'm like, if I want this to work, I have to find what it is. And so it was not waiting for it to come to me, but being intentional. Like for the longest time, I was like, I'm going to listen to one Diamond documentary every day. And then I was like, I'm going to read one article in whatever it was. Every day. Like I just literally opened up Abundant Wellness and I'd type in like ProBio and I'd read one article. And then this was before we had boards, right? I would just read one article. And then I came across this thing that said, want to go gold, watch these top 10 videos. And there was like 10 videos listed. And I watched one a day. Like I was intentional about seeing what can I find. And slowly that just builds your belief. I'm like, oh, this does this, and this naturopath says this, and this person was helped with that. And you hear things and it kind of fits in. And I think that's a good thing to remember for your level ones and twos, because people come to events and we get them there, but now what? Like events are going to do the work, but you can't just leave it. So how do I go back to people and say, how can I add to that belief? Constantly finding, if you have a customer, even if they're regularly taking their Plexus, if they have diabetes, every time you find an article, send it to them. Oh, just so you know, here it is, like helping build that. So I think for me, all of a sudden, like I think my belief in 10 is 10 out of 10. And I don't know how it got there. It wasn't, and now it is. And there was this whole string of messy in between where I was intentional about finding stuff. So that's probably not super helpful, but
Very helpful. It is. It's literally the law of addition. John Maxwell talks about it. It's literally the law because you're adding piece by piece, you're adding because that's how it builds, right? And then layering the belief over and over by soaking it in slowly so that it stays there, right? That was very good, Shelley. Let me ask you this way. So now if you have a time of where you're like struggling with feeling energetic or whatever it is of how you feel like on a low day, what would be your go-tos to go and gather some more, I'm not going to use the word belief, but gather some more energy in order to be on a high belief that day? Like I think like you gave a lot of examples already, but I feel like sometimes we don't share on these kinds of things because we do it differently, and sometimes we do it naturally without even ever telling other people, assuming that they do it too, but they don't all.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. Like I think for me, two of the things that naturally happen is I was listening to the Keith Callahan messages every day when, part of that community. And then there's another Eric Worre. I'm part of his GoPro Academy. So every day there's a different thing. And I think being intentional about listening to those daily. And on a day when I'm not feeling it, for me, I think my love language is serving. And so I'll be like, I'm going to write cards to some customers. And that actually helps build my belief because as I'm thinking, like, what can I write to them to send to them? I'm saying things of what I see in them, or I'll just send messages to people. And I feel like me telling people, like, why do I want Connie to do this with me? Like, I just sent her a message today because she was supposed to come Friday and she didn't. I'm like, Connie, this is what I see in you. And me reiterating to others why they would be better than me, why they would do this well, that builds my belief because it kind of reminds me why I'm doing it.
So you speak life over it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Those are really good examples. Anybody else have something that stands out to you on that? I think sharing those kinds of things when we um, often think these are just normal things that I do, not that I really need to share them, right? Is something that is probably going to help someone else a lot. They're not like massive big things, but that they spark an idea and they're like, when you're going to relate to something, right? Okay, so we covered a little bit of the event. We are going into the last 90 days of the year. So I don't know about you guys, and I say this a lot, but this year has just been literally one snap of the fingers. And now here we are. Someone said we're in the Burr months. Yes, we are in the Burr months already. And it's already the last 90 days. And so yesterday driving home, I said to John, I don't think we have any trips or any big plans for October, November, or December aside from Christmas, right? And so that made me, during our drive, really sit down and look at the last 90 days. What do I want to see happen in my life for the last 90 days? And how am I going to walk out of 2025 with having been intentional on setting up the new year well, right? Now, yeah, we can't always know what's going to happen. I'm looking around at my screen and I think of all the things that have already happened in this 2025 year, right? It's just been such a roller coaster for some of you. And these things happen, but that doesn't mean that we don't plan. I'm not a big planner, but I like to know what lies ahead, right? And so don't wait for January energy is one of the things that I really was thinking of. Like people are always waiting for January. And essentially, October is a better January than January actually is. It's crazy how people fall into schedule, routine, weather changes, and then you have just a huge door open in October for getting people to do a restart, a refresh, whatever it is, right? And so create your own spark now. These were some of the things that I wrote down for my mindset. I wanted my mindset to be in the right format in order to walk into October with the proper energy, right? And so don't look at the gap. Don't look at the gap of where you said that you were going to be and where you are. Look at the gains. Really honestly teach yourself to go back and look at the gains of this year. And if you have to look for them and search for them, good. Go look for them. Make sure that you find at least 5 and then write them down. These are your gains of the year. I promise you, if you write down 5, you'll think of 10. Like, honestly, you actually have to be teaching your brain to look for them, right? And you are further than you think. That's a really big thing. I had a conversation with Caitlin at our event. She's always a little bit of the office support, and she's now starting to come out for events and things like that. And me and her were talking numbers and things. And she said, it is so encouraging for me to work in those numbers, seeing where people are. And I was like, that's a very good positive aspect to look at. It's not about always growing, right? And the other thing that I wrote down that I know I used to do was a really big factor in getting my energy moving, getting my reach outs up. The amount of people that I was talking to was act like you're in momentum, because then you're going to work like you're in momentum, because it is coming. You are going to create it yourself. When you act like you are in momentum, you're going to work like you are, right? And so I would encourage you guys to, this is what I'm working on, is picking 2 spots of where I want to put a lot of focus and making sure those are my top focuses. Okay. So top focuses would be leaders retreat and getting as many people there as what I can. In the process, this will create icons, right? Because the whole contest is geared towards creating icons. And then alongside of that is, what are the actions that I need to be doing? And I took myself through a whole, not a spreadsheet, but more like a family tree, where I was like, okay, off of this goal, I have to do what to get there. So I encourage you to just really sit down with a paper and a pen and write things down and leave room for a lot of scribbles. And then under each action of what you want to accomplish, write what it takes for you to get there. So what does it look like for me to work on leaders retreat and getting as many people there? It takes creating icons. It takes doing all the actions of duplication, right? And taking people along. Okay, I'm going to put this in here and read your comments. What is it working? What's one thing you want to be known for by the end of 2025? And what small step could you take this week that matches that energy? Because I feel like, oh, by the end of 2025, woo, Sheila's got big goals. It's not always a big, massive step, right? It's the small steps that add up. Okay, I'm going to read your comments here. Pages at the basketball game. Things I talk to my people, closest friends who are side sisters. I'll also experience finding I'm not down at the same time. A balance. Yeah, that's so good. Feeding off the energy of other people, right? Valerie, senior goal, because I've been a good leader, help my people get to financial freedom. That is a real good goal. Identifying places of where you want to grow, right? So one of the topics that me and John were talking about when we were driving down, about what did we do? What was the question again? And we definitely had multiple answers for some of the questions that the panel was being asked. But for the one question of, as I'm looking for it, feel free to put your answers in there. What are some of the non-negotiables to meet success in this business, was the question that was asked us, right? And so we threw back and forth, we threw some things. And some of the bigger things that stood out to me was making month end a priority. And this can be negative and positive. But if you look at it as a whole and look at the reasons of why month end is so important, just like today, we have grown more in points today than what we did all of last week. Why is that? Because people will wait until the last minute. That is humanity. People naturally procrastinate and wait until, oh, it's almost over. Oh yeah, I want it in, right? They're going to wait. Tomorrow is going to be bigger than today. This is humanity. I don't think we're going to change it. We just have to learn to utilize it well and not allow it to take control of us, right? And so several things that we talked about were month end, we didn't plan to go away or not have phone service, right? That was one thing that we were always adamant about, of being in touch, making sure that we were available and that we were finishing off the month as well as what we could. That's just one area of being a non-negotiable. So senior goal and a consistent share month business throughout the whole month. Yes, Val, consistency will always be your long game, right? Barb, senior goals, this means I will have reached icon and also leaders retreat. Woo! That is amazing. That is a huge double whammy. If you think about that, like that's a really big deal. This also means that myself and some of my team will rise with me. Yes, exactly. Yes, Tira, they wait until 9:55. As much as we hate that, but and your goal is the same as Barb's. I love that, because let's go back to that consistency word again. That was something that we also talked about, was remaining consistent and doing things even if they are boring and repetitive, because that's the long game. That's the long game. You don't train for a marathon and say, oh, I'm going to run, a kilometer today, and then all of the rest of the week too, and then I'll just wait until the race, and then I'll run the 5K. It's like, no, I would die. Thank you. You have to practice the consistency and build up the endurance to get there, right? Shelly, I need to focus on earning icon and leaders retreat. I will do this by daily making business ask of quality people. I knew what you said there. Quality people. I love that. That's something Shelly's been working on, is hard business ask. This is stretching growth, making you really, really think about what you're asking, asking good questions, finding good people, right? This can be a very intimidating space to work in, but it's hugely, hugely effective. I love your answers because they are literally inspiring me. This is why Plexus puts out things for us like Leaders Retreat and like the Icon program. This is why, because it's naturally a magnet that will pull you forward, right? So a little bit on month end today, simply because it is month end, and then we're going to close up and let you guys finish your month end work yet. Reaching icon for Diane, Trina, earning leaders retreat and icon. I love that. I love that. Okay, several things about ending this month well. These are always the same, and I find that I repeat them to myself over and over. Like, this is something that I feel like bears repetition. Last day check-ins. Always happens. People wait until the last day to order. Hey friend, I saw that you haven't made a Plexus order today. Guess what? You get 10% off and free shipping. Should we talk about that? Where are you at in your health journey? Simple as that. Don't assume, oh, she turned off her sub again. She's not ordering anymore. No, go back. Go back with a smile on your face. Send her a voice message, and you'll be amazed at what the responses are, right? Your stories are way more effective than what you think they are. Going live in your stories is such a big deal. Such a big deal, because people watch you talk in your stories way more than what you think. And that is the same layering of belief as what Shelley talked about, her making sure that she was always putting something in every day, right? When people watch you over and over, today I saw someone had joined again in our team who was here years ago, and she's back again. People come back because they see that repetitive belief spoken over and over. And you might think that you sound like a broken record in these stories. Trisha Regar is excellent in this. And she says she had purposed at the beginning of the year to talk about the business and the products in her stories every day. The only day she doesn't work is Sundays. Every day she purposes to talk about her products and her business. And that layering of the stories, people watching them over and over, creates customers in your business. Show your face, be you. You don't need to be perfect. Absolutely. If you stutter and say, who cares? That's you. It's okay. I do it too. It's okay. We can learn. We can learn by, practice, right? If you need more.
Even Alex stuttered.
Yeah.
He's like, I stuttered. Oh my. Oh. Everybody does it.
Okay. Without losing your fire for rewards, and if you feel like things are moving harder or slower, oh Val, that's funny. Your French accent comes out often. That's awesome, because you know what? Some of us have a German accent. We think it sounds silly. It doesn't. It's just who you are. It's okay. So for that triggered a reminder for me today. Cora sent me like 2 1-minute voice messages completely in Spanish. And I was like, and what am I listening to? And she's like, well, at least you don't know. Jared just laughs at me because she's learning Spanish because her boyfriend's mom is Spanish and can only talk Spanish or Low German. Both of them are not her fluent tongue. She's English, right? And so she says, my accent apparently sounds very German and English, but not Spanish. And so it's like, it doesn't matter as long as we're learning, right? Doesn't matter. But there's one thing I want to wrap up a little bit, because this is something that I've been working on myself lately, is we are here to earn points. We are here to earn trips. We are here to cash the checks, right? That's ultimately of why we come to this business, because all those things are going to transfer into our life and the dreams that we have here. Let's not make it a negative thing. It doesn't mean that we're hounding people for points, right? And it doesn't mean that we're doing things immorally, but we're using those things to stretch us, to do hard things, to push us forward, to learning new things that are not easy to do, right? And just because we suck at them, be willing to suck. It's okay, right? This is what makes a business and not a hobby. When you're constantly looking at how can I improve what I'm doing here? Like, this is hard. Sheila shared something today with me that this is what I've been kind of cognitive dissonance about, if that makes sense. Like, some of these things I've kind of been ignoring a little bit, and yet I should have been in there doing them. Those are good signs to ourselves. Don't beat yourself up, just practice it more, do it more, right? And so we are here to earn the points, because that's how we grow teams and that's how we help more people. That's how we have a greater impact on the actual world out there. And we are here to earn trips, because that's what Plexus rewards us with for doing the hard work, right? And we are here to earn money. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, to make sure it's worth our time as well. So the rewards, definitely, they are the fruit of your consistency, of your belief, and of your service. Because your service is what you're giving, right? So when you show up with consistency, you help others feel better, you invite someone to dream again, you're mentoring someone on your team, you follow up like it matters, even if this lady has been driving you nuts about how many times she's pooping or not pooping. You follow up like it matters. It doesn't matter what the topic is, right? Then the points follow, the credits stack, and the trips get earned, and your whole organization grows. And so on the flip side, if your eyes are only on the scoreboard, you will burn out. We have to find that place of where we're doing the things that are taking us forward and learning as we're growing, right? So this is where we do it differently. Let the mission be the movement, and the rewards are reflections of the lives that you have changed. Okay, some closing a little bit. Oh, somebody's wearing Calgary Flames gear. Oh gosh. Okay, a couple of questions, and then unmute and share what you're thinking about. What is exciting you most about what you're working towards now? Be excited. Having excitement for what you're doing is a huge motivator. Wrong gift. Send it back. So what excites you most about what you're working towards right now? Or whose life could be different because you did not give up this week? Which reminded me, yes, it's exciting to find new builders. Very. Clarita had a saying years and years ago when I started. She had a saying, someone out there feels better because you chose not to be selfish. And I had that sticky note on my computer for years. And very often when I sat down to do follow up, I was like, oh, I'm reading that again. Okay, let's go do follow up. It'll inspire you more than what you think it will, right? Being a part of someone's journey to feeling better and making extra cash to relieve financial pressure. That is what drives you. Yes. Allow those things to pull you forward, right? So excited to do this together with others. Yes. Because this is what was the what did she say? If you want to go far,
If you want to go fast, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
yes.
Pretty sure that's a John Maxwell thing.
I think it is. Yeah.
It reminds me of John Maxwell.
What's one thing that you can do today that helps someone else and brings you closer to your goal? This is always multifaceted. We can be as selfless as we, purpose to be. And we're just like, I'm just going to help as many people as I can. But you know what? You also have to think of yourself. It's you giving your time. It's you learning the skills. It's you growing yourself. What is that doing for you as well, right? So it's always a joint effort there. What's one thing you can do today that helps someone else, and what brings you closer to your goal? Penny, I'm excited about helping Level 1 become an ambassador. It's been a long time coming. Think it's happening tonight. But it tells me that being consistent with her could pay off for both her and her family, and also rebuilding my team. Wonderful. Never ever think of rebuilding as a negative thing. This business is always about rebuilding, always about finding more people to impact. Okay, couple of reminders about what's all on the docket still. Book study, the energy bus, Wednesdays at 9. There's also a book study happening with several other diamond leaders. If you've seen that, I have not put that in the team page, but it's there for you if you want it. It's developing the leader within you 2.0, and there's several different diamonds. Sheila, that's Tuesday nights, isn't it? I think it's Tuesday nights after Amber's training. Victoria reminded us again that the whole opportunity of Share Plexus Your Way events option is still there. If you're inviting a couple of girlfriends over, you're going out doing something, make it an event. Message her. She'll send you some swag and some goodies, and it does not need to be hard, right? And yay to Barb, who won that big fun basket. That was fun. Loved it. Oh, and the Balance Before the Holidays challenge is starting October 6th. This is a very simple challenge. It is based on Slim, Balance, and Restore. Do not feel like you have to get Balance from the US. Block is just as fine to replace that combo. There have been several people that I have started with on this, Slim, Restore, and Balance. And I feel like it gives them the option of going in for weight loss if that's what they think that they came for. And then you can also pivot and bring them into the gut health. But Restore is going to do wonderful things for people alongside of Slim and Balance as well. So that challenge is starting October 6th, and it's going to focus on the GLP-1, which you know what market that's going to hit. And I feel like this challenge is going to do it in a very kind manner, showing them better options that are out there instead of medical options, right? So that could be a category of where you could plug in some people. All right. Anybody else want to add something? Yes, Barb, education is huge on that. And that's a place for them to get it in a good way, in a good way. It's not 8 o'clock and it's completely dark outside. Welcome to winter, guys. It's not winter yet, but this is fall, I guess. I'm quickly going to read this. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Let's have a wonderful month end and collaborate together. Have a great Monday. Take care, guys.